The New York Giants' final preseason game against the New York Jets is tomorrow, and it is the last chance for the players on the roster bubble to make their case to be a part of Brian Daboll's 53-man roster for this upcoming football season. I'm going to give you 15 players that are on the roster bubble for the Giants coming up in a second, but I want all of you to join us on Saturday afternoon for a Giants-Jets watch party here on New York Giants Now. The game kicks off at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, and I want to see all of your beautiful faces there. So if you love Giants football, you want free content, and you want to party on Giants game days, subscribe and turn your notifications on. Let's start at the running back position when it comes to the roster bubble. I believe that Saquon Barkley, obviously, Matt Breida, obviously, and Eric Gray are going to make this football team. And right now, the second-year UDFA out of Florida State, Jashaun Corbin, finds himself sitting right on top of the roster bubble. I have to admit, though, that Jashaun Corbin has been the best running back for the New York Giants in the preseason so far. I love the way that he's been able to turn negative runs into positive runs. He's broken a whole lot of tackles. He knows how to get north and south, and he has a nice burst to his game. But the favorite thing that I've seen so far is his ability to step up and be a pass protector on passing downs. He's not afraid of the contact, and he's not afraid to get in there and stick a linebacker off a blitz and keep him off his quarterback. That speaks volumes to me about a running back. 10 carries so far, 45 yards, 4.5 yards per pop. Also had 4 receptions for 19 yards. Thing is, I just think he might be on the wrong side of this running back depth chart. How many are you going to keep? I think 3 are a lock. They could go 4 deep. Corbin could potentially give you some special teams value, but I don't know if Brian Daboll and Mike Kafka are going to lean towards having 4 running backs on this roster. But Corbin has earned the right to be a part of this football team going into week 1 against the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. At least that's what I think. I want to hear what you think, though. Should Corbin, UDFA, out of Florida State, going into year 2, make this roster? Type Y for yes, type N for no. With the addition of Isaiah Simmons to this football team, where he can play all over the field at the edge, linebacker, slot, safety, I think that Oshane Ximines finds himself on that roster bubble. We're going to break down more about Oshane Ximines and the rest of this D-line, but first, I got to tell you about an awesome new sponsor. Today's New York Giants Now video is sponsored by Marine Layer, a new sponsor we have on the show, and I am a huge fan of how soft their t-shirts are. And you can get hooked up with them at marinelayer.com/chat15 and use the promo code chat15, and you're going to save yourself 15% off your order. I've literally found the softest t-shirts ever. Imagine the softest thing you ever touched, and then times that by 1,000, and then you're dealing with the Marine Layer t-shirt. How many times have you felt that you were in between sizes when buying clothes? I deal with that problem all the time. And what I love about Marine Layer is they have in-between sizes. You don't have to mess around and buy a large and then wish you had extra large, or buy a large and think you need a medium. They now have in-between sizes. We are trying to make Marge a thing. I'm a huge fan of Marine Layer, and all of you should get hooked up with them. That's marinelayer.com/chat15, and if you use the promo code chat15, you are going to save 15% off your order. You can wear this t-shirt anywhere. You can wear it to work. You can wear it to go work out. This one specifically is the Respun Sport Polo in navy warm stripe. Big fan of this stretchy, very soft material. I'm going to pump some weights after today's show in this, and I'm going to be looking styling and profiling. I think we can all admit, though, the perfect tee can be hard to find. Look no further than Marine Layer. For a limited time, get 15% off with code chat15 at marinelayer.com/chat15. That's code chat15 for 15% off your entire order at marinelayer.com/chat15. Saving your closet one shirt at a time. I want to give one big thank you to Marine Layer for sponsoring Giants Now by Chat Sports. And that link is going to be clickable down in the comments and description of today's show. Oshane Ximines found himself in NFL free agency as the Giants did not pick up his contract, but after the NFL draft, this football team decided to bring him back. And I understand why they did. They were thin at that pass rusher spot, but with the addition of Isaiah Simmons, could they maybe move on from Oshane Ximines. I do think it's a bad sign, though, when any veteran like Ximines is playing in the fourth quarter of a preseason game, and he was doing so in week 2 for the New York Giants. So I don't think that's a good sign for him, and I just haven't seen enough pop from him, enough burst off the edge. And honestly, if you're going to call yourself a pass rush specialist, you need to be able to be a pass rusher, and I just haven't seen that from him. I don't see the bend. I don't see the burst. I don't see the ability to dip and rip. I think Ximines may be on the wrong side of this 53. Bryce Ford-Wheaton is the next roster bubble candidate I want to discuss on today's video. No doubt, Bryce Ford-Wheaton is someone that took a lot of attention from Giants fans after he was a UDFA. Struggled in week 1 of the preseason against the Detroit Lions, but he found a way to bounce back against the Carolina Panthers. Had a couple of catches, showed off his big frame. We know he's a special athlete at 6'4", 40-inch vertical, 4'3", 40, and he may have found a way to crack this roster. And it might be the way that you're least expecting. Not as a receiver. Maybe get some reps during the season, but as a special teams specialist in being a gunner. I thought that he looked good in that department, and he spoke with Art Stapleton and talked about how when he got to the Giants this offseason, he found a way to be able to adjust his game and do stuff that he's never done before and affect this team in the special teams department. Here's what Bryce Ford-Wheaton said to Art Stapleton, quote, "When I got here, they were playing me everywhere on special teams, even spots where I had never played before. I was willing to learn and take the coaching, and I feel like that's paid dividends because I've definitely grown on special teams. I didn't play gunner in college, but Coach T-Mac, special teams coordinator Thomas McGahee, has trusted me to go out there and show my abilities. And with the wide receiver depth chart that is absolutely loaded with veterans on this roster like Isaiah Hodgins, Shepard, Wan'Dale Robinson, Darius Slayton, Paris Campbell, and a rookie like Jalen Hyatt, another vet in Cole Beasley, the way for Bryce Ford-Wheaton to make this team is through special teams. Show that he can be an impact player for this team in at least one phase of the game. And I think him being a special teams gunner is a chance that he could make this team. I'm just not sure if that's going to be enough for him to crack this roster. I think the practice squad is more likely for him. But I'll ask you, should Bryce Ford-Wheaton make the 53 roster for Brian Daboll? I want all of you to sound off in the comment section. Type M for make, type C for cut. Let me know what you think. From wide receiver to tight end, let's talk about Lawrence Cager. I think he finds himself on the roster bubble just for a couple of different reasons. The Giants are loaded at tight end with Darren Waller and Daniel Bellinger, but something caught my eye. In that preseason game against the Carolina Panthers, the Giants ran a lot of 3 tight end sets. And I feel like if you're going to run 3 tight end sets and you have 2 guys that aren't really good blockers in Waller and Cager, it kind of defeats the purpose of having other teams run heavier set personnel packages when they're matching yours and you can't really block. I do like the fact that he is a receiving threat, and I think that he is going to make this roster as a potential Darren Waller replacement, even though he can't do what he does. I just think that he's going to be this 3rd tight end. You could see Chris Myrick have that spot. You could see Tommy Sweeney make that spot, who's still battling back from what happened earlier at practice this week. Hope all things are going well with him. Prayers up for Tommy Sweeney. But when it comes to making this football team, I think the Giants will keep 3 tight ends. If I had to bet right now, I'd go Lawrence Cager, but how about you decide it? LC, CM, TS. Cager, Myrick, or Tommy Sweeney. One of these guys is going to make the roster. Another guy is going to be a practice squad call-up some weeks. Let me know what you think, the guy that makes the tight end position on this team. Let's focus on the defensive back room and close it out with the safety position. Bobby McCain, the veteran that signed in free agency for the Giants, finds himself on this roster bubble because the New York Football Giants are loaded at the safety position. And you see guys that are kind of taking steps. Maybe a 7th-round draft pick like Gervarius Owens, who I thought has flown all over the football field for the first 2 preseason games, could be taking a spot. McKinney, Pinnock, and Belton are all going to make this team. It comes down to the fact that are the Giants going to keep 4 or 5 safeties? And if they keep 4, it's going to be the vet, Bobby McCain versus the Rook and Gervarius Owens. And if I had to choose who I want on this football team, I'm always going to go with youth. That's something I truly believe in, that you can develop these players. McCain, good vet, solid player, but he's at his ceiling. And I'd rather develop a younger player in Owens than really just live with what McCain can give you, which I'm not sure how much better he actually is than Owens, if he is at all. Who do you think makes the team, though? Is it McCain? Is it Gervarius Owens? Type BM for Bobby McCain or GO for Gervarius Owens. Other guys that I see on this roster bubble, let's go to the wide receiver position. Jamison Crowder and Cole Beasley. If I had to bet, I would say Crowder is out, Beasley is in, but I could easily see Beasley being cut from this team after I thought a couple of weeks ago he was a lock. Oshane Ximines is there. Tom and Fox is there. Carter Coughlin finds himself there after the addition, as well as Cam Brown after the addition of Isaiah Simmons. He kind of could do it all, and I think he might even play some special teams for this ball club. The UDFA Baldonado, I think, could make this team, but he's on the bubble, as well as DJ Davidson, Shane Lemieux, and Gary Brightwell. If the Giants do make any moves, if they cut any players, they make another trade, or they sign anyone else, we're going to be doing a video on this channel. So subscribe, turn your notifications on, and let's go Big Blue.